In honor of Election Day, I thought I would take a look at DJT and give you some price targets on the 5-minute time frame. We ended the day at $33.94, down 1.16%. This is where we ended. To the north side takes us to roughly 36.44, back at the middle of the trend, the median, and in this situation, resistance and a potential take profit area. And above that, at 2 standard deviations, roughly 41.82, 44.60, and should we be so lucky as to get to 4 standard deviations in one day, that would be roughly 47.26. Now, to the south side, that takes us down to support and a potential buy-in area, 31.02. Below that, 28.24, and roughly 25.54. Note this gap has closed out to the downside. This gap is still in play. It's very tiny. I normally would not bother to draw it out, but I do like to look for them. It gives me a glimmer of hope, especially if we reverse to the upside. Change that to green. That would take us to roughly, oops, it's not working right now because I need to extend this out just a little bit more than this price label will work. That would take us to roughly $50.88. And that gap is closed. But note the bounce here at support, sell off at resistance, down to support, and potentially stair-stepping it up, because right now on the 5 we are still in an upward channel. Now I want to go over this on the daily. It's been a very long time since I looked at this, so I want to give you some targets on the daily. So right now we are near this line here, again on the daily, and above that could take us to roughly 60.87, which would wipe out that gap to the upside. And we've got this baby gap down here, this baby gap down here, just 12.77. This gap that I have been tracking, we gapped up. It was a small gap up, which then will fill to the downside, and it did. So this is no longer a threat to our account. There are other threats. And what happened here? This baby gap closed. Now I'm doing this on the daily, but normally when I mark this out, it closes out on the, I do this on the 5 minutes, so I should be tracking it on the 5, but it's just easier on my eyes and with charting to just take this to the daily and then tweak it. You can go back on the 5 and clean it up a little bit better. But I'm not going to do that because I'm lazy. So this one touched right there to the downside, so that's closed. Okay, just cleaning these gaps up. That one touched already. So we've got this big one right here that will take us down to 10.08 roughly, and that gap opened up on October 25th. Now the next one I want to go over quickly is Tesla. That is where Elon Musk is apparently going to be at Mar-a-Lago. So I want to take a look at Tesla. We ended the day at 251.44, up 3.54%. I will mark that out. Change the color for myself since I like to keep everything consistent. I didn't always start that way, but now I have certain things I like to do. All right, first, your targets to the upside. 256.62. 260.26, and should we be so lucky as to get to this level, roughly 263.90. To the south side, back at support, 249.42. We've got this gap to contend with to the downside. that is roughly 243.14. That's close to that red line here at -2 standard deviations, 242.24, 238.57, and another potential buy-in area, and possibly a stop loss as well. Depends on when you bought in, when you're trying to exit, 235.01. But we've got this gap to contend with all the way to 214.29. All right, and then the next one I want to go over is Palantir. Congratulations if you made some money off of this puppy. Ran up 23.47%. I'm up 200% with this ticker. I know many people who are way above that. So this gap, we gapped to the north side, and then when we reverse course, that will take us down to roughly 41.48. And then this gap closed out. I'm going to take care of these gaps first. This was on Monday, the November 4th. So we gapped down, up. Wait a minute. Oh, no, I need to change that. We gapped down. Change that. Okay, so we gapped down. So then I anticipate it to close up, and it did right there. So that was just a gap for the day, closed out, so that's good. Oh, what happened here? There was a gap here, and that touched today. Sorry, on Monday, on earnings day. So we gapped up, and that touched at roughly 43.69, so that's done. And then Monday was earnings day, and they reported 725.516 million. The estimate was 705.112 million. That's an increase of 2.89%. And on earnings per share, 0.06. The standardized, the reported was 0.10. They anticipated 0.091. So that was an increase of 10%. And then let's see what happened. So Monday, so that's the end of Monday. And then Tuesday morning, we gapped up. And then now we're just basically going sideways, barcoding. So what's going to happen here? Let me give you the targets. 54.45. This is now the 1-year price target according to the analysts on TradingView. Right here, $57 is the next target, which represents an 11.48% return from where we are. All right, and from here to here, could we get there? Yeah, that's definitely within reach. And definitely I like to play within 2 and -2 standard deviations, and that's slightly above. So it's not going to be easy to get there, but we definitely can. But we have this gap to now contend with since we gapped up after earnings. So back down to support, the middle of the trend, 49.33. This gap starts at 46.94, 44.34, 41.79, and this closes out at 41.48, and then -4 standard deviations takes us to 39.38. Okay, and what's happening here? Note the sell-off here at resistance, buying in again at support, going sideways, support, and then a run up. And we are at resistance basically. So I'm going to anticipate a sell-off a little bit, but the RSI still has room to move on the 5-minute chart. Let's take a look at this on the daily just for giggles. I'm going to hit Option R to reset. Where are we? Okay, we are up here. Look at this. 51.13. We are at resistance, and I'm going to anticipate on the daily a rollover. We could go up some more and then go get back down to reality. So watch out for that. And on the weekly, overextended as well. And then on the monthly, overextended. So watch out for that. Look at this. old price targets from when I was tracking this in 21 and 22. So congrats if you made some money. I'm so excited about this. I am not selling Palantir because I bought it for so low. So this is a buy and hold indefinitely, just like Apple and Microsoft for me. So Tesla, I could give or take, doesn't matter to me, but I do track and I do own Tesla as well as TSLA. Okay, and then the last one I want to go over very quickly is SNDL. I got stopped out of this because I didn't reset my targets, and this happened while I was sleeping, right at the get-go of the market. First, I'm going to give you price targets. We ended the day at 239, up 10.65%. All right, to the north side, 243 and 247. To the south side, see, we're already cracking because we hit resistance on the RSI there. 229, 221, 216, and 212. Okay, those are your price targets. And note here, close to support, going up to resistance, selling down, going back up, start stepping our way back, and now we are at resistance. So I will anticipate a rollover, which the RSI is already showing that to me to be the case. And from down here to here, this line turns into resistance. So I had a stop limit. I bought in here at 219, and I thought, okay, I had it when we were here. 4 standard deviations took us to this level, 230. So I set a sell limit previously. And then obviously as the day goes by, the 4 standard deviations is now up here. So it's constantly changing. The calculations are changing. You've got to keep your eye on this if you're trying to do some day trading or scalping, getting in and getting out. So had I stayed in, this is where I sold out. Bought in at 219, sold out at 230, my sell limit. But had I changed my sell limit and kept track of this, which I did not do, again, I was sleeping, from here to the high point would have been a return of 9.60%. But for the day, we were up 10.65. So that would have been right down here. So congrats if you made some money there. Let me just delete this. All right, I do have some at 209 that I have not sold. I just wanted to get rid of this 219 because I feel like it's going to roll over and I'm going to be able to buy this cheaper. That's just a hunch. But I do own some also at 159 and 149 and 159. I've sold out of my 135 and my 137. I don't think we're going to get back to that level. Those days are probably long gone. Okay. So I will buy in again if we hit this level or below. And was there a gap I was tracking? No, I'm not really tracking anything. It's very gappy, this stock anyway, because not a whole lot of people trade it. Only today, 5 million, normally 1.8 million, 5.8 million for today. Oh, that gap closed out. Okay, just for giggles, let's go to the daily. What's happening on the daily? As you can see, I've tracked this many times. Oops, Command Z to redo. Oops, sticky fingers there. You have to grab it at a certain spot or it'll get wonky on you. All right, so this is where we are. On the daily, resistance will take us to 273 and one level of support takes us back to 164. All these lines are basically support and resistance or middle of the trend lines for me, which I'm not tracking that anymore. But if it gets down here, I definitely will buy more shares. All right, that is it. If there is a ticker that you would like me to go over, please let me know. And hopefully you get out and vote today. That would be fantastic. And let me know who you did vote for. If you tell me who you voted for, I will let you know who I voted for. We'll swap. Okay, we'll swap stories. All right, have a great trading day.